Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub laid to rest. PM announces additional 1.4 billion ringgit for dilapidated schools. Good afternoon, I'm Mohana Priya and you're watching Updates at Noon. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub passed away at 9:23 last night. His remains were laid to rest at Tanah Perkuburan Jalan Sulong in his hometown Serkat, Johor. Datuk Sri Salahuddin died at the Sultanah Bahia Hospital in Alor after undergoing surgery due to a brain hemorrhage. He was 61. The remains of Datuk Sri Salahuddin arrived at the Sinai International Airport at 2:30 a.m. today. On board the special flight from Alor were his wife Datin Sri Fatimah Taha and Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Sabu. Johor Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat was among those at the airport to receive the body. The hearse carrying the body to the residence of Datuk Sri Salahuddin's mother, Aminah Abdullah, 83, in Kampung Serkat, Kopi Tengge, Tanjung Piai in Pontian, was escorted by the Royal Malaysia Police and Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry vehicles. Members of the Cabinet extended their condolences to the family of Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil said Salahuddin's initiatives, among which were the Payung Rahmah, Menu Rahmah and Jualan Rahmah, really helped to lessen the people's burden. Meanwhile, National Unity Minister Dato' Aaron Ago Dagang also extended his condolences to Salahuddin's family. He said the death of Dato' Sri Salahuddin is a great loss to the country. Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz also expressed hope for Datuk Sri Salahuddin's soul to be blessed with mercy, his sins forgiven, all his acts of worship accepted, and may he be included among the pious. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri described Datuk Sri Salahuddin as a figure who fought for the Rahmah concept to help ease the burden faced by the people. In the meantime, Works Minister Alexander Nantalingi said he was very saddened to receive the news of the passing of Datuk Sri Salahuddin. Meanwhile, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the meeting last week was his last meeting with Datuk Sri Salahuddin to discuss several matters and finalise 3 overlapping Amanah seats in addition to the state elections campaign schedule. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli also expressed his condolences to the family of Datuk Sri Salahuddin and prayed that his soul be placed among the faithful and pious. Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub will be best remembered as a champion of the people on the issue of the rising cost of living by introducing various initiatives known as Payung Rahmah. Datuk Sri Salahuddin was no stranger to national politics as he was Pontian Branch Angkatan Belia Islam Malaysia Secretary from 1981 to 1983 before being actively involved in politics after joining PAS in 1983. After serving as Kubang Korean MP for 2 terms, Datuk Sri Salahuddin exited PAS and joined Amanah on 31st August 2015. The Amanah Deputy President then won the Pulai parliamentary seat and the Simpang Jeram state seat in the 14th general election in 2018 on a Pakatan Harapan ticket. He was appointed Agriculture and Agro-based Industry Minister in 2018. The Johor PH chairman defended the seats in the Johor state election in March 2022 and the 15th general election on 19th November last year before being appointed Minister of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living. During his tenure, Salahuddin implemented various initiatives under the Payung Rahmah brand in helping people face various challenges related to the rising cost of living, especially when the country and the economy were recovering from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a minister, he was always seen on the ground to ensure a sufficient supply of goods, and his tireless efforts succeeded in stabilizing the prices of basic goods while also reducing the effects of inflation on consumers. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has described the demise of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub as a huge loss for him personally and his family. Admitting to being affected by the sad news, the Prime Minister said that the services of Datuk Sri Salahuddin could not be materially repaid.
Seorang yang kerjanya sungguh tekun dan program rahmah, jualan rahmah itu dia atur dan dia susun dengan sangat rapi. Dia selain dia kata ini Perdana Menteri dia jalan dengan tekun dan dengan bersungguh-sungguh. Jelajah seluruh negara untuk mengurangkan tekanan hidup rakyat, rendahkan kos.
The Prime Minister also prayed that his family will remain patient and persevere, and his soul will be showered with mercy and placed among the righteous. Moving on to other stories we are following, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has announced an additional allocation of 1.4 billion ringgit for the repair of dilapidated schools in the country this year. He said the allocation included 185.37 million ringgit for Kelantan, 78.93 million ringgit for Terengganu and 64.15 million ringgit for Pahang. Datuk Sri Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, said this in response to a question from a teacher at the Chakna Madani program with officers in the Education Service of the Ministry of Education in Kota Baru. Datuk Sri Anwar also said that as many as 50,000 laptops had been approved for schools and other institutions of learning under the Ministry of Education, and they are expected to be available in October this year. The Prime Minister also announced that 9.4 million ringgit is allocated for Kelantan, Terengganu and Pahang to empower the digitalisation program in educational institutions in the respective states. At the same event, Datuk Sri Anwar revealed that he will announce several fixed remunerations for civil servants, including teachers, in the next week or two. The Premier said he will chair the first management meeting on the salary scheme adjustment next week.
Ini sementara pelarasan gaji. Kerana QPEX kata kalau nak tunggu pelarasan gaji kan ambil masa 5-6 bulan. Jadi mana yang boleh lakukan sedikit dulu kita buat. Jadi kalau semua tunggu pengumuman dan sedikit penyesuaian. Tapi keseluruhan penyusunan semula skim dan pelarasan itu yang saya anggap drastik. Ya, kerana saya fikir pendekatan lama itu harus dirombak.
Elaborating, Datuk Sri Anwar said reasonable and fair remuneration would be given to civil servants in the country since there has been no increase for quite a long time. On the 13th of July, the Premier said that a proposal will be made for the civil service salary scheme to be improved in stages based on the country's economic capabilities. He said it would be discussed in a meeting with Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali and Public Service Department Director General Datuk Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad before the state elections take place. The Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, has issued an advisory on Typhoon Doksuri, which is located approximately 1,424 kilometers northeast of Sandakan, Sabah. In a statement today, Met Malaysia said it was located about 430 kilometers northeast of Samar Island, the Philippines. The department said that based on observation at 5 a.m., the typhoon was moving west-northwest at a speed of 15 kilometers per hour and winds could reach a maximum speed of 130 kilometers per hour. However, Met Malaysia said Typhoon Doksuri does not pose any significant threat to Malaysia. Coming up on the foreign front, Ecuadorian mayor shot dead in gun attack. Stay tuned. Protesters and police clashed over the weekend during renewed demonstrations against Peru's interim president Dina Boluarte in the capital Lima, where demonstrators are demanding she step down and call for elections. Boluarte came to power in December after former leftist President Pedro Castillo was ousted and arrested, triggering accusations of power grabbing and setting off months of nationwide demonstrations. The ensuing crackdown by security forces left almost 50 people dead, according to an estimate by Human Rights Watch, which accused the authorities of extrajudicial and arbitrary killings. The latest unrest kicked off on Wednesday when more than 4,000 demonstrators took to the Lima's streets, in part to demand accountability for the protesters' deaths. On Saturday, police fired tear gas to disperse a crowd that was occupying the central San Martin Square. 3 civilians were detained in scuffles with security forces, according to the Ombudsman's Office and human rights organizations, but no injuries were reported. Boluarte, 61, is being investigated by the Public Prosecutor's Office for alleged genocide, qualified homicide and serious injuries, although her political position grants her immunity from prosecution. Sunday's election in Spain resulted in a hung parliament, despite polls predicting victory for Spain's right-wing Popular Party, offering a lifeline to Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who could cling on to power through a jigsaw of alliances. The closely watched vote took place just 3 weeks after Spain took over the rotating presidency of the European Union, which was left bracing for a fresh blow. With 99% of the ballots counted, the PP won with 136 seats, while the Prime Minister's Socialists came second with 122 in the 350-seat parliament, both far from the 176 needed for a governing majority. And neither was able to reach that figure, even with support from their main political partners, with the far-right Vox counting 33 mandates and radical left-wing Sumar winning 31. With the PP and Vox falling short of a working majority that gives the left-wing bloc a fresh chance to form another government because the Socialists have more options to create alliances. In power for 5 years, Sanchez is in a far better position than his rival to seek the support needed to piece together a coalition, notably from the Basque and Catalan separatist parties, for whom Vox is a boogeyman. Meanwhile, Italy hosted Mediterranean leaders in Rome on Sunday at a conference aimed at extending an EU-backed deal with Tunisia to curb the arrival of migrants on European shores. Now, the summit convened by Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni laid the foundations for a fund to finance investment projects and support border controls with a medium-term aim of better regulating migratory flows. Opening the conference, Meloni said talks would focus on illegal and legal immigration, refugee support, and, the most important, wide cooperation to support development in Africa. Meloni said the days of talks was the start of a process that would be followed with a donors conference to finance investment projects and support border control, adding that no date has yet been set. The United Arab Emirates pledged 100 million euros to that fund, Meloni said in a press conference following the conference. Meloni has also sought to act as an intermediary between Tunisia, cash-strapped and on the cusp of a major debt crisis, and the International Monetary Fund, where a nearly $2 billion bailout package for the North African country has stalled amid an IMF demand for structural reforms. The mayor of the Ecuadorian Pacific port city of Manta, Agustin Intriago, was shot dead on Sunday in a brazen attack that stunned the political establishment. Police said the 38-year-old Intriago, who was re-elected as mayor of Manta in February, had been inspecting public works in the city at the time of the attack. Local police commander Alex Salgado told reporters Intriago had been hit by an undetermined number of bullets and a woman had also died in the incident, describing her as a collateral victim. Police said that its officers had secured a truck with a grenade inside and a gun nearby, which investigators believe may have been used in the attack. Interior Minister Wan Zapata said 4 other people were wounded, where 2 of them are believed to be involved in the killing. It was not immediately clear why the mayor had been attacked, though Ecuador has faced an increase in violent crime that the government says is driven by power struggles between criminal gangs over the drug trafficking trade. President Guillermo Lasso expressed his sorrow over Intriago's assassination and said he had ordered authorities to bring the killers to justice. Tens of thousands of people fled wildfires on the Greek island of Rhodes on Sunday as terrified tourists scrambled to get home. And there were reports of wildfires breaking out on Corfu, another popular Greek island, with land and sea evacuations underway. On Rhodes, firefighters tackled blazes that erupted in peak tourism season, sparking the country's largest ever wildfire evacuation and leaving flights and holidays cancelled. Hundreds of holidaymakers milled inside Rhodes International Airport, some trying to sleep on their beach towels as they waited for flights off the island. Rhodes is one of Greece's most popular holiday destinations, particularly with British, German and French tourists. In the rush to leave, some visitors had to abandon their belongings. Other Greek islands were reporting similar problems. According to the fire services, a wildfire broke out on Greece's second largest island, Evia, and several residential areas had to be evacuated. And several hundred miles to the northwest, the Greek island of Corfu, another favorite with foreign tourists, was struggling with its own wildfires. The collapse of a bridge undergoing works in western Greece yesterday has killed 1 person and wounded 8 others. The Greek fire department said it was called out shortly after midday local time when part of a bridge collapsed in Patras in the Proastio area on the road to the capital, Athens. The 8 injured had been sent to hospitals and 1 person was killed in the collapse. Some 35 firefighters and 12 vehicles were dispatched to the scene, as well as drones and special rescue vehicles. Fire department spokesman Vasilis Vatrogiannis said traffic had been closed on the bridge since the 20th of July due to demolition work for the reconstruction of the lower crossing. The reasons for the collapse of the bridge, which links Patras port on the Peloponnese Peninsula in southwestern Greece to Athens, were not immediately clear. Efthymikios Lekas, president of the Earthquake Protection Organization, told media that the bridge had stability problems that were known to the authorities. Restoration work began in 2021 at a cost of over 6 million euros. Twitter owner Elon Musk and the chief executive he brought on board just a month ago by the social media network will ditch the bird logo, rebrand the platform with the name X, and move quickly into payments, banking and commerce. Twitter chief executive Linda Yaccarino said the platform will be powered by AI and connect the people in ways beyond imagination. Late Saturday night, Musk indicated he plans to jettison Twitter's blue cartoon bird logo, implying an end to the imagery from where the very word tweet stems. Yaccarino, an advertising sales executive at NBC Universal, whom Musk poached last month to become Twitter's CEO, said the social media platform is on the cusp of broadening its scope. Since Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion last October, the platform's advertising business has partially collapsed as marketeers soured on the mass firings at the platform. In response, the tycoon has moved toward introducing payments and commerce through the platform in a search for new revenue. The 52-year-old Tesla founder has previously said that his rocky takeover of Twitter last year was an accelerant to creating X, the everything app, a reference to the X.com company he founded in 1999, a later version of which went on to become PayPal, a payments giant. Up next, Verstappen extends dominating run in Hungarian Grand Prix. That and more in our sports segment. Kicking off our sports segment today, Selangor FC managed to keep title hopes alive after beating Sabah FC 1-0 in their match at Petaling Jaya City Stadium last night. Now, the victory means that Selangor FC remain in second place with 40 points, 9 behind defending champions Johor Darul Takzim and 6 points ahead of the third place Kedah Darul Aman FC. The club's Colombian striker Aaron Deval Rodriguez was the hero of the night, scoring the solitary goal of the match and chalking up the club's 13th win this season. Rodriguez scored in the 23rd minute, sending a crisp shot from his right foot off a cross from Richmond Boeke that hit the goalpost before sliding into the back of Sabah FC's net. Selangor's win tonight erases some of the sting from their 1-2 loss to Sabah in their previous Super League match last April and ended Sabah's 3-match winning streak as well. Selangor's next match will be crucial in determining their league standings as they take on JDT at Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Putri on Saturday. Sabah, meanwhile, will visit Penang FC at the City Stadium, Penang, on Sunday. Moving on to the Women's World Cup, France's hopes of a winning start to their campaign were thwarted by a hard-working Jamaican side in a scoreless draw in the opening Group F clash at the Sydney Football Stadium on Sunday. The fifth-ranked French semi-finalists at last year's Euros were unable to get their game going as the Jamaicans hassled and harried them throughout the 90 minutes to earn their first World Cup point after 3 losses on their 2019 debut. Forward Khadijatou Diani almost clinched the winner for France in the 90th minute, but her powerful header hit the bar. The Jamaicans celebrated at the final whistle as if they won the tournament, even though they lost their best player Khadija Shaw to a red card in stoppage time. Coach Lorne Donaldson thought the draw would rank as Jamaica's finest football moment. Shaw, who was a constant thorn in France's side, was sent off when she received a second caution for a tackle on Renard deep in the France half. France take on Brazil on Saturday, the match that was supposed to decide Group F, while Jamaica will face Panama in Perth later on the same day. Thousands of Bayern Munich fans watched their team present its squad for the new season at Munich's stadium on Sunday evening, with South Korea defender Kim Min-jae among the new arrivals. New defender Rafael Guerreiro posed with crutches on the pitch of the Alliance Arena for the official team photo after he injured himself during a training session a day earlier. Fans attending Sunday's presentation said they hoped Tottenham Hotspur captain Harry Kane would join the German Giants. This comes following media reports that Bayern are willing to pay a €200 million package for a 5-year contract, with half the amount going towards the transfer fee, the other half towards the English striker's salary. Moving on, dominant Formula One leader Max Verstappen ran away with the Hungarian Grand Prix by a mighty margin as Red Bull made history with a record 12th victory in a row. McLaren's Lando Norris was runner-up for the second straight race, but 33.731 seconds behind at the checkered flag on a hot afternoon at the Hungaroring. Verstappen's teammate and closest title rival Sergio Perez had to settle for third after starting with ninth and chasing Norris in the closing stages before the Briton built up more of a buffer. The 44th career win was a ninth in 11 races so far this season for Verstappen and seventh in a row, stretching his lead over Perez to 110 points, with the double world champion also taking the fastest lap. The run of 12, a tally that includes last season's final race in Abu Dhabi, beat McLaren's 11 in a row in 1988, recorded by greats Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. Although Ferrari won 14 successive races that they entered in 1952 to 53, the Italian team did not compete in the Indianapolis 500, which counted as a round of the championship at that time. Mercedes' 7 times world champion Lewis Hamilton finished fourth after starting on pole for the 104th time in his career and first since 2021, with McLaren's Australian rookie Oscar Piastri fifth. And on to tennis, Andrei Rublev clinched his second tour-level title of the season on Sunday when he overcame top seed Casper Ruud at 7-6, 6-love in the Nordea Open final. Now, the second seed, who dropped just one set en route to the title, played with explosive power against Ruud, striking the ball cleanly off both wings throughout the 1-hour, 33-minute clash. The 25-year-old won 80% of his first serve points, raising his arms in delight after sealing victory on his first match point. With his 18th tour-level clay court win of the season, Rublev improved to 5-2 in his Lexus ATP head-to-head series against Ruud. Rublev has now won all 4 of the pair's meetings on clay courts. The 25-year-old Rublev is up 3 spots to 4th in the Pepperstone ATP live race to Turin following his title run. He is aiming to make his 4th appearance at the NATO ATP finals at the end of the season. Earlier this year, Rublev clinched the biggest trophy of his career when he triumphed at the ATP Masters 1000 event in Monte Carlo, and since then he has won 14 tour-level crowns. Ruud was chasing his 11th tour-level trophy and second in Bostad, having won the title in 2021. Elsewhere, Pedro Cachin captured his first ATP Tour title on Sunday when he overcame Spaniard Albert Ramos Vinolas at 3-6, 6-love, 7-5 at the EFG Swiss Open Gstaad. The Argentine combined power with guile throughout the 2-hour, 23-minute final, forcing Ramos Vinolas deep with his explosive ground strokes before using the drop shot to great effect. Competing in his first tour-level final, the 28-year-old recovered from squandering a break advantage in the third set, raising his level again deep in the decider to become the 5th first-time champion on the ATP Tour this year. Cachin, who was making his debut in Gstaad, did not drop a set en route to the final. He defeated Taro Daniel, Roberto Bautista Agut, Joe Minar and Hamad Medjovic before overcoming Ramos Vinolas in their first Lexus ATP head-to-head meeting. The 35-year-old Spaniard Ramos Vinolas, who received a medical timeout in the second set for blisters, was aiming to win his 5th tour-level title. With his victory, Cachin has climbed 41 spots to number 49 in the Pepperstone ATP Live rankings, with the Argentine's previous career high was just 54 last November. And with that, we reach the end of today's updates at noon. Our leading story today remains of Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub, laid to rest in his hometown. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family members. Thank you for watching. I'm Mohana Priya. Goodbye for now.